So you've decided in your creativity you want to draw. What tool choices are there to help you do that? What options do you have for drawing? Which one is best for you? And we'll cover that right here shortly. Hi, I'm Tim Longwell with Longwell Art. And our goal is to help you reignite your creativity and provide you with tools to gain contentment by creating for contentment. So what type of tools are there for creating content in your creativity? What are the choices? Which one is best for you? We're all going to look at, and we're going to start off with something everybody's familiar with, and that is the pencil. Now this particular pencil is a 4B. I have a 6B here somewhere. What did I do with it? I guess we'll use this one. Now with pencils, they're going to be kind of hard to show up here, but the pencils are rated from a number like 2, 4, 6, 8, H, which is the hardness, to a B scale of 6 or 8, B, which is the softness end of the scale. Now if you'll notice with a 6B, the line is fairly dark. With a 4H, the line is fairly dim. You can't hardly see it. It might even not show up in the video. And each one has a purpose. The 4H and the 2H would be used to make your outlines of your object. As you can see, they don't leave anything at all. Whereas the 6 and the 8 allow you to do your shading, and that's all with the same pressure. So you can just, even a light pressure, it builds up very quickly. Then you have for drawing, you have your erasers, which you also use in chalk. Now you have several kinds of erasers. You have a basic plastic eraser. Mine's cut up for various reasons. But what it does, as everybody knows, but it leaves a lot of dust and stuff on and sometimes it can tear your paper. Whereas this is what's known as a kneaded eraser, because you can knead it and shape it. You can roll it into points like this and then erase just a small area like that. So you can go in, the thing about this, you can go in and you can even, if you're drawing a subject that has lighter hair or lighter highlights, you can go in and just by putting that in a point, you can go in and get those highlights and add those in there. And that's one of the many advantages of a kneaded eraser. In addition to it's a lot more gentle on your paper. Another drawing tool, most of people know this as is a compass or a divider. And what you do with this is especially handy if you want to enlarge a photo or direct copy an image to your artwork or drawing. For example, you'd measure an eye in a photograph, and then you could put it over here and you'd match the size of the eye. You can also do this along with a tape measure to decide how far the distance apart is on something. Then there's this particular type of eraser here. Now this one's not a very common eraser that most people aren't aware of. But what this is when you're doing a lot of the heavier pencils like the 6B, it'll build up a lot of dust. And what this does is it picks up the excess graphite without leaving the dust on it. Because what this is a cloth bag and it's filled with eraser material. It's what's known as a draftsman's eraser. And you can pick these up at Hobby Lobby or any art supply. Then you have graphite sticks. And graphite sticks are rated the same as pencils, depending on the hardness. There's 2B, 4B, and 6B, if I remember correctly, on this particular set. As you can see, but the nice thing about it is it lets you cover broad areas real quickly. Let's see, you get the different softnesses. See, this one doesn't show up as dark because it's a harder graphite than the first one I showed you. And then again, you just knock the excess graphite off. That's out of your way, so you don't smudge and drag it somewhere else in your drawing. And that's it for the pencils. The only other thing that you might do with a pencil, depending on what you're doing, is you might use a smudge stick. Now, smudge sticks come in different types, but the most common is this type here, where it's a paper roll with 2 points on it, and you can just use it to blend and soften and such. So you can spread this out, or maybe fill in an area with a softer shade if you're blending a dark and a light together on your hardness of your pencils. And then you also have a couple of other type of blenders that we'll cover in other, as we carry on when we're talking about other drawing type materials. Then there's the eraser pencil. Now, this is the same material as this particular plastic eraser here. The advantage is it seems to be non-dyeing. It's ever recurring. You just go in, and if you've got a large area you've got to erase, it makes it nice because you don't have to keep getting a new eraser or whatever. The only other thing is the drawing tool with pencils that I use is a drawing brush. One was to wipe away those eraser rolls, and another is like the Draftsman eraser. It can be used for blending and softening of your graphite. The next material we have that most everyone is familiar with is charcoal. Now, charcoal comes in two ways. It'll either come in pencils and sticks like this, or you'll buy it in a box where it'll come in what they call vines like this. And when it comes in the vine, each type of charcoal, depending on the thickness of the vine, is a softer charcoal. And the bigger the charcoal stick, the softer the charcoal, the darker the line it'll make. And it's the same principle with the charcoal pencils. Depending on which one you use, there's soft, medium, and hard. Like here's the hard. Here's the medium. It's a little darker line. And then there's the soft, which is a real bold line. And each one's a little darker than the other. And the more you press on it, the bolder it gets. See, bold. Medium is still lighter than this one. And the soft is still lighter than the two of those. And that's charcoal. Now, one of the things in your charcoal kit that you'll get on occasion is what's known as a sable or sienna charcoal. And it's basically a hard pastel more than a charcoal. It qualifies as a soft pastel, but there are different gauges of soft pastels. And that brings us to our next subject of drawing with pastels. Now, there are two main types of pastels. There's what's known as an oil pastel, like that. And one of the things, and you can blend it by blending two colors. With it, this particular one is just a plastic rod with a rounded tip, and you blend it by rubbing right here, and it'll soften that edge and blend the two colors together to make a smooth, soft transition instead of a bold, rash line. And that is used for many different purposes. Then there's the pastels that everybody is most common with when they go to Walmart, is they're used to seeing these little sticks. Now these are the hardest value of soft pastels. These particular pastels you got to press pretty hard. Now the thing about these pastels is they're chalky. They're more like chalk. And the softer they are, the more material they leave that can flake off of the... But for example, you've got a light blue, a dark blue, and you put in a light blue beside it. And you want to blend the two of them together. You can use your finger and blend the two of them together to where it loses that line in there and it creates a third blue. But the problem is then you're putting the oil in it and it does affect it. Or you can use a blend tool like this. Well, this is just basically a styrofoam sponge type material on the end of a stick. I think this one's actually a makeup tool. And then you just rub it in. You don't add the oil that way. And it blends it together and softens it. And I think this one just died. And you can also use your blending stumps on your charcoal lines. And you can use them on your pastels. And it doesn't matter which pastel you use them on. They'll all blend the same way. So this is pretty much a multi-purpose blending tool here, and it's by far the least expensive as well. And that's drawing tools. Which one is right for you? That's going to depend on what you want to do. The room that you have isn't going to be as critical a factor because they don't take up much space to store. You can literally take any one of them anywhere you want to go, and as long as you just drop them in a container like this or like this and drop them in your purse, drop them in a drawing bag, a briefcase, whatever, along with your paper, and away you go. Draw a sketch on location. The best way I recommend for figuring out which one's best for you is try them all. Now some brands and types are better than others, but as you're just starting out, you're more interested in figuring out what you like the feel and effect of. And so the critical part of getting the right brand, although important, and I can give you recommendations of those if you want to contact me, leave a comment down below or send me a message through email or whatever, and I'll be glad to help you walk you through which one for more specifics as to which ones are the better quality and brands that you might want to use depending on which one you choose. But until then, give them all a try. They may not be the greatest, say, if you go down to Walmart as far as choices, but they'll give you a start. And starting is the key when you're reigniting your creativity and expanding your interest to find out which media is right for you in drawing. Now, if you like this video and you learned something or you want to learn more, be sure and subscribe. Ring the little bell, lets you know when we go live or upload a new video. Check out the videos over here for other tips and hints and tricks for creativity. And we'll talk to you next time on Create for Contentment. In the meantime, you be sure and have fun.